Hey everybody, Joy here. Yes, this is Shine, I know. I'm driving, as you can see. I'm on this real country road back in the woods. There's not even any traffic. But, and I'm not going very fast, 40 miles an hour. And I've got you stuck in the window on the thing Jerry stuck up there, and I have both hands on the wheel. Well, I did. So I just wanted to let you know why we didn't do Shine yesterday. My husband picks the worst days to have a heart attack on. I tell you, you can never get your doctor on the weekend. You remember last time he had high blood pressure, and it happened on a Saturday, and so we couldn't get into the doctor. And so we went to that one hospital, and everybody was there. The ER room was absolutely packed. There was a bunch of people in there with COVID. It was horrible. They didn't even, if they had kept Jerry, they didn't even have a room for him. So anyway, yeah, he had a heart attack yesterday. Bless his heart. I have known for a couple years that something is wrong with that man. I thought that it was, I would say, well, he must have dementia. But I knew it wasn't that, because he'd be real out of it 1 minute and couldn't remember what we were talking about. And he's standing right next to me, we'd be having a conversation, and suddenly he just wasn't like there anymore. He was in body, but not in mind. And he wouldn't answer me or say what he was supposed to say. And I go, Jerry, where did you go? Where did you go? What do you mean, where did I go? Well, we're having a conversation, and it's like you forgot what we were talking about. Well, I was thinking about something else. This has been going on for 2 years. His doctor doesn't know because it's intermittent. And that's why I knew it wasn't dementia, because 1 minute he'll be like that and doesn't know what's going on, and the next minute he's perfectly fine and telling me what drugs are in everything, or telling me all of the parts that are in his boat and how he wired this to that and what's wrong with the RV, etc., etc. You know, stuff nobody would talk about if they had dementia. But then maybe an hour later, he checks out on me again. I'll go downstairs and I'll say, I need you upstairs. So he'll get up out of his chair and start to come up there, and I'll go up there, and then he never shows up. And I'll go back and I'll say, what happened? What do you mean what happened? I said, I thought you were coming upstairs. Oh, I didn't know you wanted me upstairs. See? And so he has a regular doctor, and he goes to see her for his blood pressure, of course. Well, when he goes to her, I'm usually with him, he's normal. He's never acted like this when he's there with her. And for the last couple months, I have wanted to call his doctor and say, could I just talk to you, please, and tell her what was going on with Jerry? Because it never happens when he's there. But I knew she wouldn't talk to me. She'd say, well, I can only talk to him. I have to see him, blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes. So night before last, what night would that be? Last night was Sunday night. So Saturday night, we're getting in bed about 10 o'clock at night. And we have single mattresses on top of a king-size flat bed, because they go up and down. And so I was already in my bed, and I already had my head elevated a little bit. And he walked around to get on his side of the bed, and all of a sudden I noticed he was flat, the wrong way. It was like he'd fallen on his back sideways, and his head was right there next to my shoulder, my body. And I looked down and I thought, well, that's odd. And so I looked down at his face. I mean, my head was right over his head. And I looked down at his face, and I'm like, Jerry. And his eyes were open, and he was staring at the ceiling. And I went like this, over Jerry, over his eyes. And he just kept staring. He didn't blink or anything. And so I got up, ran around the bed, went over there to his side of the bed, and I shook him. And suddenly he was like, he was back. And I said, Jerry, what the heck are you doing? And he said, well, I'm just getting in bed. So right then I should have called an ambulance. I should have called an ambulance right then. But he always, oh, I'm fine. Oh, you're such a worrywart, Joy. What's wrong with you? I'm just fine. I was just getting in bed. So I didn't. Well, I actually went to sleep that night. He got up yesterday morning, and he said, oh, I had the worst night. Oh my goodness, just the most horrible night. I didn't sleep all night long. I was uncomfortable. And then he got out of bed, and he wasn't hungry. And he took his blood pressure on the little machine that, you wrap it around your arm, and then the little machine, it wouldn't tell his blood pressure. It wouldn't tell him what it was. It was too low. It just said low. It wouldn't even read it. And so he did that over and over through the day. Then he started feeling his pulse, and his pulse was really slow. And so he was afraid to even sit down. We should have gone to ER then, but I was upstairs and didn't even know this was going on. I was upstairs talking to y'all probably. Oh, no, we were watching church for a while. So, last night about 5:30, he hadn't eaten lunch, he hadn't eaten dinner. I had just finished some little dinner thing I made. And he said, Joy, I really think I need to go to the hospital. He said, I may need oxygen or something. My pulse is just way too slow. So instead of going all the way to Ardmore to that hospital I did not like, it was dirty. All the rooms were dirty. Oh, it was icky. We went to the one that's here in the little town by us called Medill. And it's just a little hospital. And they don't do everything there, but they do have an ER. And so we went there, and there was nobody there. Empty emergency room. And they took us in. The place was spotless. It was super clean. The girls there were super, super nice. And their machinery's funky. You know, it's a little town, ancient hospital. And the machine that they hooked up to him wouldn't work right and wouldn't tell his heart rate. And so they hooked him up to these little sticky things. The girl said, I'm going to bring a different machine in here. That thing never works. And the nurse was Granny from Beverly Hillbillies. Totally Granny from Beverly Hillbillies. Cracked me up. Said she's raising 5 of her great-grandkids. That's how old she was. So, totally gray hair, long ponytail, not a lick of makeup. And she was super nice. And so she went and got a machine and rolled it in there and put the sticky things on Jerry. And so it did its thing, and it printed out this paper. And the nurse just went, oh! And she grabbed the paper and she took it out in the hall. And in like 10 seconds, this Dr. Dillard, real pretty blonde lady, came in and started looking at Jerry and looking at the paper. And she said, do you know you have a block in your heart? I always told him he was hard-hearted and didn't have any sensitivity. So anyway, the real doctor, Dr. Black, I guess that girl was a practice doctor or something. She was real pretty. And so Dr. Black, who's ancient, the cussing doctor, I call him. Now, I usually can't stand men who cuss. He said everything but the F word. And he talked the damn this and damn that and damn this and damn that. Oh, but I loved him because he told us everything he knew. He told us everything. He said, look up there at that chart. They brought another machine in. He said, look up there. He walked over there and he showed it to me and he said, here, his heart beats. It comes over here and it's supposed to beat, but it isn't. Comes over here and it beats. Come over here, it's supposed to beat, but it doesn't. He said, your husband's heart is skipping every other beat. Well, no wonder the man falls asleep every 5 minutes. Good grief. So, anyway, turns out he has this heart issue. I don't know what you call that, heart issue. But they sent him in an ambulance. We started to go to Oklahoma City. And then I said, you know what? We live down here. Why don't we just try what's down here? And quit going to Oklahoma City. Because obviously he couldn't drive the RV. And so they ambulanced him to down here where I'm going. I just entered Texas. So he's at TMC in Sherman, Texas, and he's in the ICU right now, and they are going to put a pacemaker in him today. But how many minutes am I up to? Hey, let me tell you the miracle of miracles of all miracles. We had planned, I've been telling people in my other channel, we're leaving Sunday, we're going to Oklahoma City. I had a CAT scan, he had a doctor appointment for his shoulder, and so he was able to drive now because the sling is off. So we were going to go to Oklahoma City in the RV. Well, yesterday morning, it started thundering and lightning and absolutely pouring rain. And I thought, this is before I knew something was wrong with him. I was upstairs watching the thunder and the lightning and unplugging all my machines. And I thought, there's no way he's going to drive up there in this thunderstorm. That's ridiculous. So I went downstairs and I said, I don't care what's going on up there. We're not going. You're not driving that RV. And he said, I agree, Joy. I don't think I should be driving it today either. So, just think, if it had been pretty weather like today. In fact, it said it was supposed to be thunderstorms all week this week. Look at today, it's beautiful. I I hate thunderstorms. And I didn't want him driving back in a thunderstorm. So I just said, we're not going thunderstorms all week. So because of that, we weren't in the RV. He could have gone off a cliff. He could have run into the other lane of traffic. Heaven only knows if he blacked out while he was driving. Just think, how good is God? How good is God? I've thanked him. I've thanked him and thanked him and thanked him for that thunderstorm. Anyway, he's going to be fine. All he needs is a pacemaker. He doesn't have to have any stents or whatever else they do to your heart. And so I looked it up online, of course, as you always do. And it's just some little device they put up here. And then there's a wire on it that goes down a vein into your heart. And it makes sure your heart beats every time it's supposed to beat. So he sent me home last night. Do this, do that, do this, do that. So I got home about 10:30 last night, which was a big deal. I hate driving after dark. I thought I wasn't even going to be able to find our driveway. I'm going, we live deep in the woods. There's no lights at night. But I got home okay. Then I couldn't get the garage door open. Wouldn't you know, battery died in my garage door. Anyhow, I think the Lord was telling me, look, you're a big girl. You can do these things Jerry always does, and you can do them by yourself. Quit being so afraid of everything. So anyhow, I just wanted to let you know that's why we didn't do Shine. I'm sure Jerry will be back next week telling you all, you know, what's happened and praising the Lord. So anyway, I'm going to let you go. It's still very, very low traffic and a beautiful day. And I have both hands on the wheel. So don't worry, don't worry. I'll be back next Sunday, I hope, with my pacemaker husband. Bye for now.